Okay, our next session is on mental health, and in particular on how mental health relates to body positivity. And to talk about this, we're delighted to have with us Jsky, who is the host of Naked Beach. Come on, Jsky. Hello.
Thank you very much.
Where would you like to sit?
This is a great seat, isn't it?
Okay, you go there, I'll go over here. So I'm mixing it up. I'm sitting at different on each session, in different chairs. Hello, everyone over here. Right, for people who aren't familiar, perhaps, with Naked Beach, could you quickly fill them in on what kind of show it is?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Jsky. I am from Manchester, and I was one of 8 hosts on Naked Beach. It was a Channel 4 show, and the purpose of it was to make people accept who they are, no matter what their shape or size.
And exactly, that's kind of giving us, that's technically true,
yes.
But exactly how do the show do that?
Well, one of the ways we did it, there was a theory...
The clue's kind of in the name, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. There's a theory that by spending time around people of all shapes and sizes completely naked, it'll make you feel better about the way that you look. And so we hosted a villa in Greece, which was fantastic, and to start off with the process, we'd be completely covered with body paint, and throughout the process, at the end of it, we'd try and encourage guests to join us completely naked on Naked Beach.
Right, okay, now, so to be fair, this all sounds rather sensationalist, but this was backed up by, there was sort of, apparently, real science behind this. I'm sounding a bit sceptical, so tell me how this relates to trying to improve body positivity, and why isn't this just a stunt?
Well, obviously, there was a stunt element part of it, but I actually thought, will it work, will it not work? It did work. At the start of the process, guests had to rate themselves in terms of their body image. There was a social scientist involved. There was several studies in the background. We had Natasha Devon, who had a fantastic study on this, Dr. Keon West. Our job as hosts was just to normalise naked bodies. I wasn't recruited to be on the show as someone who is a nudist or someone that just walks around naked all the time. I signed up to this not knowing that part of the show. It was further on.
Did you have an interesting conversation with your agent after that, then?
With everybody. But it was like, I'd already bought into the idea of helping people, and it made sense when it was sold to me. It made sense, and I thought I'd be a bit of a hypocrite if I actually don't take part in this process too. And even the hosts, we even found that we were more body confident by the end of the process too.
Brilliant, well, evidently. Now, at a time when reality TV is quite often linked negatively with mental health issues, there's a certain other show I'm thinking of, and what's it called? Sex Archipelago. Oh, no, that's not right. Shagging Peninsula. No, that's not
gosh.
Right. Oh, Love Island, sorry, that's the one.
Right,
I know you're not allowed to mention it, so I thought I'd mention it. Now, obviously, that has had some well-documented issues with the impact that's had, on the negative impact that's had, with tragic consequences in some situations on the contestants who took part in that. So, do you see this as sort of the antidote to that, or are you trying to show that reality TV can work in the other direction?
I mean, it has been called the antidote to Love Island. I'm not sure we need an antidote to Love Island. I think there should be a space where people can watch whatever they want to watch on television, and we don't judge it. I think what shows...
Well, it's not so much about the viewers, is it? It's about the impact on the contestants and what it does to them subsequently.
Well, the impact has been varying depending on how people react on social media, how they are treated throughout the process by the team and how they're looked after. But Naked Beach was good because it actually got to a deeper level, whereas a lot of makeover shows and reality TV shows in general are about drama and sensationalising things. Even though we were naked, we actually did want to help people to feel better in their everyday life, and we had some great results.
Okay, now you mentioned social media there, because I think another issue that this all connects to is the way that people feel, particularly young people, feel pressure to conform to particular ideals that they see on social media and so on and so on. So how do you think this relates to that? And do you think that there might be lessons you could apply, not just on TV, not just reality TV, that might apply more broadly in social media as well?
Okay. And one thing I was proud of with Naked Beach was that we had a range of body types, a range of sexualities, a range of people of different ethnicities, and I think that a show like that shows that people can feel represented and know that they are not alone. I think a lot of the time we think we know what's going on in someone's head, and we presume that certain people are more confident than they are, and they've got things together, and Naked Beach actually showed that everyone is dealing with something, and to have a show like that will encourage people at home to question, actually, how am I coping with things, and who can I turn to?
So, because I think some people would say this sort of show is sort of exacerbating this focus on body image, and that you are how you look and all this sort of stuff. So, there's clearly a lot of concern about the impact not just of TV but of social media on people. And do you think that's justified?
I think social media gets blamed for a lot of things, and to be honest, I think that takes away the ownership of what we can do. We are all social media, we're all using it, and there are actually a lot of benefits to it. But what I do like to see now is that the conversation has opened, and we're starting to understand that everything has a consequence. And even though you're sending it to the abyss, it's actually a real person at the other end of that will receive that message. And how would we feel if we were that person?
And what's your, how do you like to use social media yourself? What's your preferred approach to this?
I think social media is driven by whoever shouts the loudest and gets the most attention. So I try to make sure that I'm not drawing attention to the bad things that people say about me. And so if someone says something and they tag me in it, I don't need to reply to that. If I reply to it, people will see it, right? So why not just reply to the nice stuff and ignore the nasty stuff? So my advice to anyone would just be to focus on what you love, and instead of bashing what you hate, just shout louder about what you like.
Right, so but you have to build a firewall in your mind against the negative things that are said to you, and some people aren't capable of doing that, are they? So
I think we're all capable. I think that social media is just a reflection of our own mind and our own thoughts, because we have over 1,000 thoughts in our head every day, and not all of them are true. We just get to choose which ones we accept, and it's the same with whatever someone says online. You just get to choose what you want to accept.
Excellent. Okay, do we have any questions from the audience? Any thoughts on this? Anyone like to tell us about their experience of this particular issue of social media and body image and so forth? Anything? God, it's crickets. We have a question over here. Here comes the flying microphone.
It's a quite quick question. Do you have any plans what you're going to do after this? Maybe any, in terms of body positivity, any further ideas for shows or, ideas to continue this advocacy?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. At the moment, Naked Beach has just been bought in Australia, so they're going to be doing the whole series over there. And also, there's a teaching toolkit which is now available, and it has been rolled out for case studies in secondary schools where people can use Naked Beach as a resource and as a case study to encourage the students to be more accepting of all people, shapes and sizes, and to love themselves, which I think is fantastic, because when I was at school, nobody wanted to be me, but now I'm going to schools and they're like, I want to be like Jsky when I'm older, which is really bizarre, right? But I'm not saying that you should be like me, I'm just saying you should feel that there's a way for you to be yourself and not to feel like anything's right or wrong, and you cannot just love who you are deep down, yeah? Oh, yeah.
Excellent. We have another question over here. Can we have the flying microphone? See, we totally need this drone microphone thing. I tell you, it's a winner.
I'll have to admit, I have never seen this program, and it's the first time I'm hearing about it, so I'm quite fascinated. In your experience with the program in terms of body positivity, and I'm assuming there are people on the program who aren't comfortable with their bodies.
Yeah.
So what are you finding is that eureka moment for most of these participants?
Gosh, that's another good question. I'm sorry for anyone that's not seen the show. It's available on All 4, a little plug there. And it's actually really worthwhile watching, because I think the viewers also go on the same journey as the guests. So basically, we had this beautiful villa. There was 8 of us, all different shapes and sizes, that would live there and serve the guests completely naked. And eventually, they'd come to love their bodies by getting in close, awkward proximity and doing activities with us. But one of the things that stood out for me was we did an exercise called Naked Homework. Every night, the guest who was uncomfortable with the way they looked had to spend time on their own in front of a mirror and document it for 10 minutes and notice things about the body that they hadn't noticed before, and what they don't like and what they do like. And the more you do that, the more you see yourself, and the more you actually take away some of that fear and pressure of judging yourself, after a while you get more resilience to it and you start to accept it, yeah.
So that was a eureka moment for some of the contestants, wasn't it?
Most of them, yeah.
Right.
And then afterwards, when we eventually get them to start exposing themselves a little bit more, the fact that they get a neutral or positive response to them being exposed to us, it alleviates the pressure as well, because they expect the worst. They expect people to judge them harshly or to be shocked, but it's just your body, right?
And is that homework, as it were, part of the pack that's going to schools and things? It's an unusual kind of homework, but...
I mean, that is not what I've been told, but if you want to go home and...
There's nothing stopping people doing this at home.
No,
no,
I mean, it sounds radical, but it's pretty obvious, really. Like, we shouldn't hate our bodies. Why should we judge them in a way which isn't going to benefit our life in any way?
And do you see attitudes to this? Do you see this getting better, or do you just see this continuing to get worse? Because you see, people having plastic surgery so they look the way that Snapchat filters make them look.
Right.
And I sat next to a woman on a plane who'd had this. She spent the whole flight taking Snapchat pictures of herself, which were like further extending the way that her features looked. And I just don't know what's going on there.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with people doing plastic surgery. I'm not one to judge them on that. I think we should all be able to express ourselves however we want. I just think that if you're going to do something, it's just about actually liking where you start and appreciating what your body can do and not being at war with yourself, because it's about that conversation you have in your mind, and that is how the world will then interpret you.
And that's the point, is that it doesn't just apply to the way you feel about your body, it's the way you feel about yourself in general.
Yeah.
Did you see that kind of overflow into other areas of sort of general self-confidence, not just about body image, but about the way people felt about themselves more generally when you were doing this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a woman that was engaged to her husband on the show, and the reason why she hadn't got married was because she didn't want to have a moment where everyone was looking at her. She was that self-conscious. She never looked at herself in the mirror. She was afraid of even wearing like a swimming costume by the pool. And slowly but surely, we had to get to the root of the issue. And a lot of it stems from our childhood. A lot of it stems from things which aren't even real, just stories we create in our head about how we are perceived. But everyone has the potential to love themselves and to be who they want.
Excellent. On that inspiring note, thank you very much, Jsky.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.